So I'm going to start this episode with a joke. You ready?
Go ahead, Tim.
Have you seen the Bible verse where Jesus says you must post a cross emoji and a cross, then you can swear people online?
Where did you get that from?
Somebody tweeted it the other day. Because of this. You know, like how some people are. It's so weird. They are these loving Christians, these faith-based people, and then they're swearing you online and telling you. And I'm like, man, I missed the part in the Bible. That's just me.
It's like the oldest profession in the world.
Which one?
It is. You know what the oldest profession in the world is?
Only fanning.
No. No. It's a speed cop.
Uh-huh.
It is. Because somewhere in Genesis it says the evil spirit jumped out from behind the bush. Anyway, imagine being serious all your life.
Yeah, man. That was a great start.
As I like to say.
We started off by insulting a bunch of people. That should be good for the views, man.
That's not insulting. That's just. I have a strong faith.
Yeah,
but I think that's pretty. Yeah. Well, it goes into this world. Is that how do we use? How many people are using stuff to, I don't know, project to other people? Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today.
Okay, so you guys are here. We're 1 minute in. For those of you who don't know who we are, welcome to the Uncovering Greatness podcast. I am the host of said Uncovering Greatness podcast, and today I am joined by Barry Mitchell. Barry is the founder of Uncovering Greatness. Uncovering Greatness is an organization that helps businesses, business owners, entrepreneurs, salespeople, and employees who want to, very importantly, employees who want to make a bigger, better, stronger difference in their lives.
And businesses.
And businesses. I said businesses first.
Yeah. I wasn't listening.
That's what I appreciate. I appreciate leaders who can say they weren't listening versus leaders who pretend and then say, you didn't say that.
Well, some people are used to people they work with that just talk shit, so you've got to stop listening.
I'm giving a good intro here, and this is what I get. How are you doing, Barry?
Good on you, bud. Good on you. Nice to see you guys. Another Monday morning. Another podcast.
Yes.
Another week.
So I was thinking about this, and yes, we were chatting about it before, but I was actually thinking about it because of some of the commissions that I've been seeing with some people that, people should be getting fired, but they're not getting fired. This is a tough space, and I'm not talking about them. They're going to do what they're doing. But business owners, probably one of the hardest things to do with when you're running a business is firing people.
Well, I think, let's kick off. I believe the hardest thing to do in business is to build a team.
Yeah.
Because a team is built up of a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
So, to start off with, what are we taught? Build a team, create leverage. Everyone will do what they're meant to do, and you'll build your business. And everyone, and as you build your business, then people will grow. Because you grow the base, people go from there. But it's so much easier said than done.
Yeah.
And building a team is such a hard thing to do. And why is it so hard? Because of that wonderful saying, business would be easy if it wasn't for people.
Yep.
But I also believe business would be impossible if it wasn't for people. So we've got to be able to work together. So, yeah. And as business owners, probably one of the biggest frustrations I come across with business owners is the performance of a team.
Why is that?
Well, I think there's many reasons for this, but I think the first thing is lack of clarity.
From the leader?
Well, just lack of clarity. So ineffective communication.
Okay.
The expectation that I hired you, and because you signed your job description, and because we had an interview, you know what you're meant to do.
Yes.
So I have the expectation, well, you know what you're meant to do, especially when you come in with some form of professed skill or something like that. So my perception is, well, you have the skills. So, for example, you're a sales guy. So
Yeah.
you say, so in your CV it says you can sell, you've had experience, da 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 da. So my perception is you can sell.
Yes.
And you've told me you can sell.
Yeah. We had the
But the
interview.
question is my perception matched with your perception of what to sell actually means?
Okay.
So right up front, it's getting absolute clarity in terms of what delivery means. And it's also absolute clarity in terms of if you don't deliver, what are the consequences?
So can you give me an example of time when you've had that in either your team or in other businesses that you've worked on where you saw that clarity is off and we need to how do we fix this?
I mean, I see it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've hired many people over the years in my business in different businesses, and you sit down and you have a discussion around what's meant to be done. I mean, you and I have been together probably going on 12 years now.
A long time.
I mean, how many times have you and I had the discussion? But Sully, you and I sat down and we discussed this, and you said you were going to do this.
Yeah.
And you go,
I have.
oh.
What I meant. That's what you meant.
Is that what you meant? Oh.
You weren't clear.
But does it make sense?
Yeah.
And then it's, well, I wasn't clear, and I'm like, well, you weren't clear. And you create conflict and confrontation, and then you got to deal with it. So we'll talk about dealing with it. But that's the first thing, is to create absolute clarity as much as you can on what needs to be delivered on.
Okay.
And when you do that, then measure that agreement every week.
Weekly.
Well, especially when someone's new in your business.
Okay.
Because behaviors are habitual. So if you're measuring someone every week based on behaviors, not based on results. So I don't manage. So if you join me now and you head of marketing and I bring you in, and the results we want is more leads.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, you're not going to get more leads this week, next week, or the week after. You're not a magician that's going to wave a magic wand, and so there's some sense of reality's got to set in. Does it make sense?
See, there's somebody that's going to be watching this and go, I'm the magician who can get you, and they're going to contact you.
Yeah, they're going to contact me and go, I can generate leads in 3 weeks. I'm like, whatever. But that's also the problem, is because you have a business owner who's desperate to create results. They have someone sit down who makes promises that they can do stuff that honestly they can't do, not now anyway, because everything takes time.
Okay.
So everything takes time. So then we get frustrated because, well, if this lined up, then I could have done that. And then, so reality is, I sit down with you and I go, okay, Sully, so how are you going to do this? Do we have a marketing process? No, we don't. Okay, so the first step is let's design a marketing process. Great. So week 1, design a marketing process and come and sit down with me and take me through it.
Yep.
Great. So your deliverable for the week is a marketing process. If you get to the end of the week and you haven't done the marketing process, well, that's a red flag that you can't actually stick to an agreement.
Got you. Yes.
So now I may say to you, look, but this is not working out. You had a simple thing to deliver on. You said you could deliver on it. You haven't delivered. It's not acceptable. Okay. So if that happens again, well, I'm going to cancel the agreement, and I'm going to ask you to leave because you're in probationary time and da-da-da-da-da.
Yep.
But we were clear right up front that these are the consequences if this doesn't happen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's how I look at it. Following week, we sit down, that's what I want you to do. Design them. If you don't do it, I'm politely going to say to you, Sully, this is not working. Based on our original agreement, you haven't delivered 2 weeks in a row what we agreed. And if you can't deliver on this, how are you going to deliver on the leads? How are you going to deliver on everything else? Dude, thanks so much for coming. You don't fit into the organization. Sure, going to miss you. Bye. I don't get upset. I'm not going to hold on to you, but I'm very clear on what the deliverables are right up front. And that's a really hard place. Yes. So those of you that are in HR, okay, all that, but you have to do it by the law. You have to do it legally. You got to dot the I's and cross the T's and make sure everything is done, and it's all done by agreement. I get that.
Yeah.
But manage it right from the beginning, because what often happens, I think we bring people into our businesses with the hope that this person is going to create the magic we need to create to grow our business. And why would you not have that hope? I get it, but also have the reality.
Yes.
I sat down with someone before, and we talked about the first 3 months and what was going to be required, what they were going to do, what was expected in month 1, month 2, month 3. And I said to them, if you don't perform, what do you think the consequences are? And that particular person said to me, well, I'm joining you to perform. I said, I get that. I get the fact, and I'm hiring you so you can perform.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't,
What's
and,
next?
and that person said to me, but isn't that negative? I said, no. In my world, that's realistic.
Of course.
Because in my experience, many people have great intentions and then don't perform. And I do not want to have a relationship where you're not performing, I'm spending a lot of money on you, I'm not getting a return on investment, and we have a problem. So right up front, we need to be very clear, if you do not perform, what are the consequences?
Yeah.
Because just like if you do perform, you know the consequences. This is the up end, this is your commission or your bonus or whatever it is. So is it not fair
So we talk about both.
that we talk about both?
Yeah.
Because it's all very well talking about the up end, but let's talk about the down
downside.
end as
Of
well.
course.
And I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
a lot of times that's where people don't go in there because it's that mindset of, oh, this is negative.
Yeah.
And if I do the negative, how are they
actually
going to start off with me? No, it's reality.
Yeah, it's super realistic.
It's reality because simply that person might just come and join the business and not fit in. Dude, you don't fit in here. You don't fit into our culture. We thought you would be a good fit. You're not a good fit. You don't.
The way we do it doesn't work with you.
100%.
And that's okay.
So maybe we just call it quits.
Yeah.
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 But make sure that that agreement is clear right up front. So when you're addressing it based on a very clear agreement. So you're not basing on it, this guy's pissed me off and now I'm irritated and how am I going to move him on or how am I going to... It's not about...
I'm stuck with him.
It's about, these are the agreements. So for example, if I bring in a new salesperson, what's one of the things I generally always do with try to do with a new salesperson is in week 1, they have to go knock on doors and collect business cards.
Week 1.
In week 1. Because the person sits down and says, I can sell. I go, great.
Go sell.
And then and then in their contract, I outline that these are the core expectations. This is what you will be expected to do. Can you do this? Yes, I can. And I go, great. So we are going to start with a task that you are going to have to fulfill in week 1. Okay? And then I go, great. Go and collect 50, or in my case, it was 100 business cards when I first did it. But go collect 50 or 75 or whatever it is business cards. Based on the agreement, what do? I go park in an area, go knock on doors. And it's not about closing deals and all that. What I want to see is, can you do something that you agreed to do?
Oof.
That's all I want to see is, can you do something that you agreed to do? Because in your interview, you told me you can knock on doors. You told me you can do cold calls. You told me you can make phone calls. And great, so I want you to go do it. So that's the one thing. It's also a training thing as well. But the other side is, if that person doesn't do it and refuses to do it, you're not going to fit in our organization. Because guess what? If you can't do that, when we need to drive business and pick up phones and get all amped,
you can't be
that
trusted.
person's going to give me excuses on why they can't do it.
No,
I
for
don't
sure.
want that in my business.
Yeah.
So you see, that's the difference between driving results, because that's where a lot of people get lost, I believe. We drive results. Why aren't you making sales? Well, don't drive, why aren't you making sales? Drive, how many calls have you made? What's the action activity? It's the same with marketing. How many ads are you posting this week, Sully? What needs to be done in ads? What's our cost per ad? We manage that because I know that the goal is to get a result.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing the activity, well, you're not going to get the result.
That's such an interesting one, right? I think it's that just got me thinking, because I was like, yeah, that's what most people do, business owners. You drive people on results, right? So it's like, why are you not making more sales? Then the person's head gets stuck on sales, but they're not even taking action, right? So they're going, I need to sell this bloody cup, I need to sell this cup. But all they do is think about it.
Yeah.
They're not taking any actual action of, okay, cool, who do I need to sell this cup to? Well,
100%.
firstly, I need to pick up the phone and find out who wants cups.
Pick up the phone, knock on doors, do all that sort of stuff.
But now I'm so stuck on the result because my boss said...
Is that not the same as marketing?
100%.
So, we shoot, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 hours worth of videos a week. Great.
Yep.
So you bring in a new person, a marketing assistant for you, who's going to edit videos. Great. Can you edit 6 hours of videos a day? Can you edit? How fast can you edit? Can you do this? So you set the goal.
Yes.
Okay, then what do you do in week 1? If it was me, I would just go, here's 4 hours of videos.
Yeah.
What I want you to do is I want you to edit them, and I want you to pull out 40 1-minute clips based on this context.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do this week. Now, those videos might be videos we shot and never use again. But what are you looking at? And then you ask that person, can you do that? Yes, I can. Good. What do you want to see? 40 at the end of the week, 40 clips pulled out, cut, nicely ended to 1 minute with some specific context.
Yeah.
Now you can sit and go, okay, first thing is, did they do the 40 clips?
Yes.
Because if they don't do the 40 clips, well then, like drum roll. If they don't do the 40 clips, well then what are you managing? So let's say they do 15. But dude, you said you could do 40.
What's the issue?
And then what are you going to watch? They make excuses, justifications.
What's their behaviors?
And those behaviors are going to come up. Those are telltale signs. And if you keep that person on over time and you don't address those behaviors, guess the biggest problem you're going to have is in 6 months' time, you're going to have those excuses popping up when the heat and pressure gets turned up. So you address that right up front. And you go, in week 1, that's not acceptable, dude. So, but you have to have a basis within which to address it. And that's where a lot of businesses don't have the basis. So in my world, what's the first thing we put in a business? We create context. We create a set of values, behavioral rules, all that sort of stuff. So the very first thing someone buys into is that set of behavioral rules. So in our world, I mean, one of our code of honor rules is we honor all agreements.
Yeah.
So that person has bought, if they're working in our team, for example, that person
honor
has bought
all
into
agreements.
honor all agreements. Now I go back and say, did you make an agreement? Yes. Okay, great. So why did you not honor the agreement? And then part of our behavioral rule is, if you weren't going to honor the agreement, then alert the person.
And then
fix it. Then I would
set
ask,
up a new one.
why did you not alert me when you had a problem and didn't and realized you weren't going to do 40? And then what I see is, if that person defaults to excuses and blame and all that, well, that kicks into another one of our rules, which says we take responsibility. No laying blame, no justification, no denial. And immediate no finger pointing, that person would go in there. That's a red flag for me. Okay, this person has those behaviors. Now, I'm not going to bullet the person in week 1.
Of course.
But I'm going to sit down and say,
we're tracking.
Sorry, this is not acceptable. You signed up to our set of rules. We're very clear. This is how, and we don't play this game. So make a choice. If you're going to continue wanting to play this game, you know the consequences and you're not going to last here very long.
Yeah.
If you want to change those behaviors, well, do it this week. So can you do 40, can you go away and do your 41-minute clips? Yes or no? Are you sure? Do you know the consequences? Okay? And if you don't this week, and you don't follow the behaviors, and you don't play the game, I'm highly likely that you and I are going to sit down and have a very serious discussion, and I'm going to suggest that maybe you actually leave. But, see, I'm not going to get upset, angry, shout, and scream, because I'm addressing it there and then.
Yeah.
And I just talk like that I've been in business 32 years. I've had my own business for 24 of the 32 years. And biggest mistake I've made with people is lack of clarity right up front. My biggest mistake I've made, not theirs, my biggest mistake. Lack of clarity up front, which means when they're not performing, I have a problem in how to manage them. And then what's happened is it creates conflict and confrontation. Whereas when I have absolute clarity in what the game is that we're being played, then I don't have to get upset. I just have to sit down with the person and go, did we agree on this, yes or no? Yes, we did. Great. So what's the deal? And do you think it's fair that you continue playing this way? Because you agreed. It's not, I told you at the last minute, because that's the other thing that happens.
What?
Oh, no, we don't do that here. Yeah, but you didn't tell me when I signed up.
Yeah.
So you create absolute clarity up front, so there's no ambiguity.
Yeah.
And then you manage it accordingly.
Yeah, I think that's why we've spoken about it a lot, actually. It's like why I enjoy Muslim-owned businesses. Because on Friday they shut down at 11, 12 o'clock, and that's it. Whether or not you're Muslim or not, our business is closing. This is what it is.
So
these are our rules. That's what we play at.
If you're not a Muslim guy and you're working in a Muslim, well, you respect that. Why? Because
you have a choice. You respect it or you leave.
100%. But the deal is if you want to work there, you want to draw your salary, you want to get paid, well, respect it.
Yeah, you have to just go away for 2 hours or 3 hours or however long they close for. Or maybe it's the day sometimes.
But does that make sense?
Yeah.
But understand right up front that happens. Don't complain.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I think those type of things, you can take it back to sport.
We always take it back to sport.
You take it back to sport. There's a way that a team plays the game.
Yes.
There's uniform.
It fits our system.
Uniform that you wear, and the system that we practice at this time, these hours, da 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 da. If you want to be on our team, fit in. So when it comes, and guess what? The managers and coaches manage people based on that.
Yeah, I mean, players get sold because they don't fit systems, right? Because a new manager comes in, and this is. It's funny you bring that up. So I'm talking about it like actually in all the sports context. There's an owner of the team, right? The CEO of the team.
100%.
He then employs a whole bunch of people, and one of those people is the manager.
Yeah.
Your job is to manage this team.
Manage the people.
Drive results.
And to get the most out of them.
Get the best out of these
100%.
guys. Or you are fired.
That's your job in business.
It's exactly the same thing.
That's the job of a sales manager. That's the job of a
100%.
marketing manager. That's the job of an operations manager. To manage the people and get the most out of them. In return, those people must be paid accordingly, fair and equitably.
Yes.
The other day, someone commented on one of my posts around a guy that commented, I can't remember the exact words, but, building a business and taking... basically abusing the people who are working for you in your business. That was the sort of I can't remember that, and my sort of response was like, well, sure, that's what some people are going to do because
that's
people do that in anything in life, but why would you comment on that without even knowing how we run our business?
100%.
For me, running my business, one of the most important things is fair and equitable exchange. Is that everyone in the team, you deliver, I deliver, we all get, but that's based on the agreement up front.
Yes.
If you're performing and you're performing beyond what our agreement is, I don't know, I'm paying someone 10 grand to be a salesperson, for example, and then there's a commission base, and they're well outperforming, and they come to me and say, could I increase my base? Well, if they're performing way above and beyond what they signed up for, I'm going to say yes. If they're not performing, haven't closed any deals, are not making their phone calls, why would it be fair for me to pay them more? What? Because their expenses have gone up? That's not my problem.
And you see,
that's not my problem. Because when you signed up for your 10 grand, you got 10 grand and you agreed to commit to this. Why is it fair? So when you take it back to sport, you sign up as a striker. You haven't scored any goals in 7 games.
Dude, we have a problem. What's going on? You're going to get dropped firstly.
100%. So now you get dropped. In business, you can't get dropped.
No, unfortunately.
Okay. So well, that's where you need to retrain people and train. I get that.
Yeah.
So you can't get dropped, but in sports you get dropped.
Yep.
And if you don't perform in the lower level,
we're starting to now pay attention
So in business, I mean, if I'm working with a salesperson, I can drop that salesperson and go, okay, good. So you're not doing this out there. So I tell you what, let's recalibrate. Now I'm going to put you on the phone. I'm going to get you making phone calls. We're going to do this. Now, can you deliver on that? Yeah. And if that person can't deliver at that level, well, you got the wrong person. So you go back to sport. So now you want your top striker, who's been signed as top striker, now to go play in the second team. And they better score goals in the second team. If they do and get their confidence back, they come right back. If not, they're going to get traded somewhere else. That's the way it works.
That's the game.
And if they come back into the first team and suddenly they start scoring a whole lot of goals, they're going to get bonuses, aren't they?
100%.
And they get a signing bonus for next year. And
now you're renegotiating your contract because we won something.
Based on whose performance? Based on their performance. Why is business any different? And I go back to the young man that commented. I get it. Yes. In a number of cases, there's a lot of abuse that happens within business and there's not the right exchange. I get that, but that's anywhere in life. Yeah, so when you join a company, if you know that there's a possibility of that happening, put it on the table.
Yeah, ask it up front. And especially if it's about, I feel like especially if you are in the sales space, and I actually feel like nowadays in the marketing space, I think that's something that
any space, so even in the productive space.
Yeah,
you're in production, you're working in a factory, you're there all the time. You have no downtime. You're running well. Can you put up your hand and say I'm performing?
Yes.
But where also the deal is if that business owner or that manager is not prepared to. As long as, not just because you want more money, and that's the difference. Just because you want more money because your expenses, that's not in my world. My opinion. That's not a reason just to give you more money.
Yeah, but
if you are performing and you're performing over and above what you've agreed to do for the amount you're earning, then you should be able to put up your hand and say, can I have more money? And if you can't get more money, well, guess what? If you are good at what you do, you'll find a job somewhere else based on your performance.
I agree with that, because I think that you may be performing at your best. You're doing above and beyond what you're supposed to be doing, but there's 5 or 6 other people within the business that are not, which means that the business is not. The business is not, which means the business is still in a state of, we're not bringing in money to justify giving you more money.
So it's like the striker. Striker scoring a shitload of goals,
but the defense
is
letting
stuff in, and you're losing every game. Well, you're about to be relegated. Where's the money going to come from in soccer? Because you're being relegated. So that striker has a choice.
Yeah,
I'm either going to stick on the team, hold my midfield and my defense accountable to frigging get to practice more often, stick to the game plan, and collectively we're going to. And sadly, I'm a high performer, and I'm going to take a hit for the moment. But if I really believe in this team, then everybody's going to step up, and next year we'll perform better. And get that. That's part of the deal.
Yeah.
But people go back to this individual. It's me.
It's me.
Well, I
we're
get
gonna
that.
play on a team.
But the problem is when you play on a team, it involves the whole team. And if half the team's not performing, or 3/4 of the team's not performing, and the ultimate results not coming out, well, there's no more in the pot.
Yeah.
And that's a hard part of managing people, man.
So something you mentioned earlier, and I think we've seen it a lot, and I've, having been around you and been around, a lot of businesses and stuff, I've seen a lot of the performative talkers. The ones who aren't doing anything, but they somehow, some way manage to stay in the business because they are good at talking. But they should not
One of my biggest red flags, always, is people that talk too much.
Yeah, I know you picked it up in the room.
And that know all the answers and can tell you where we should be going and have all the... I'm like, I've just... Yeah, it's a generalization, but it's always a little red flag. It's like, oh, okay, I wonder how this person's really performing. Because, what I have learned about many great performers is they don't speak very much. Their performance, I look at a guy like Novak Djokovic, for example.
Novak's
not all over not all over social media saying how great he is.
He doesn't have to tell you.
He's a performer.
When
you sit in a room with Novak, he's not going to put up his hand and say, hey, you know that I'm the number one and I'm the GOAT and he's not going to do that. Because of his performance.
Yeah.
If you didn't know who he was, he's not going to tell you.
No.
And you would go research and go, oh, wow, that guy's... So I think, like for me, that's just one of my telltale signs when I see people, and I've seen it in the sales game, is that sometimes the people that speak the most and can tell you why it's not working and how come it's not their fault and are like, okay, we might have a little problem there. But, so, and again, it's a generalization. But lots of times it's a smokescreen for what's not being done.
Yeah, big time.
I've seen that. I've seen that often because of the nature of how I teach and the questions that I ask. Sometimes I'll get a lot of pushback from someone in the room or some people in the room, and my thought is, okay, I wonder how well these people are performing. And it's interesting that the majority of the times when I ask the question based on how they're performing, is they're not performing, but they're perceived to be top performers. They talk a good game.
Deal's coming.
100%. They talk the good game. And, But when you actually challenge them based on activities, numbers, they have all the reasons why it's not, and everybody else. But they talk this good game. And I think what I have seen often is sometimes business owners and managers get lost in that because there's that hope, and there's also the inability to confront the bullshit that's spoken. So it's quite interesting. But again, for me, it just goes back to, if you have a solid context, if you have a solid set of rules and a solid set of values, talk is cheap. You just hold people to agreements. Did you agree to do that? Yes or no? Doesn't matter how much you want to talk. Are you doing what you said you were going to do? And if you are you getting the results? If you're not, if you are doing what we agreed to do and you're not getting the results, are we sitting down, tweaking and changing it? Because just because we agreed to do something doesn't, we have a strategy on doing A, B, and C, and we believe that if we do A, B, and C, we'll get X, Y result. But if you go and deliver and then you realize there's stuff that you didn't really know or stuff you had to learn, but you delivered on it and we didn't get X, Y. Well, it's like, okay, well, let's retweak, let's change, let's do that.
Yeah.
Because you have the faith and belief that you'll get X, Y. But it's in the doing of the activity that you get the learnings, that you realize there's stuff that you didn't know. So for me, it's always, well, I want to manage the doing. Because if I manage the doing, then we can upskill and train and change.
The results will come.
And results will come. But a lot of times and it goes back to that. So manage the context, manage the behaviors, do all that sort of stuff. Because whether people speak a lot or don't speak a lot, it's the deal is can you deliver on what you said you're going to deliver on? In sales, you said you were going to make X amount of calls. You said you were going to do this follow-up. You said you were going to follow the sales process. Have you done it or not? And if not, why is it not? If you have, why is it not working? If you have, and it is working, excellent. How do we get better at it?
Yeah.
How do we duplicate it with other people? But a lot of times their mouth moves about how good I am, and I know, and I've been in the business, and what do you know about it? It's like, I hear that, and that's where I think some business owners and managers get unstuck, because it's managing that noise, and it's noise.
So I think that if you're listening, if you're present, or if you weren't, go back, because it will then answer the question of, well, how do you get rid of, or how do you deal with the problem person like that? Those context, build the context, put some rules, put some agreements, proper agreements in place.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I gathered is, if you have a proper agreement in place of you are going to make X calls, then you have your meeting and it's like, how many calls did you make? Yeah. I made Y calls. Okay, what was the agreement? X calls. Okay, cool. That's not the you broke it.
100%. So you use the word get rid of. I don't like the word get rid of. No, but because and when does that word get rid of come up? For me, when the relationship's broken.
Okay, can't be repaired.
No, well, when the manager's frustrated or the business owner's frustrated and the employee or the team member's not performing and nothing's been done and it's gone on for too long, that's the sort of mindset. How do I get rid of this person? If you manage it right up front, you don't have to get rid of someone. You have to come up with an amicable agreement. Dude, you don't fit in. Why don't you go find somewhere else before you get all frustrated and your knickers in a twist?
Yeah.
Because I mean, let's face it. High-performing people don't wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning with worries.
No.
Okay, who wakes you up in the morning at 3 o'clock in the morning because things aren't being done are the non-performers, are the people that are always pushing back and find reasons why they can't, or just don't do what they're going to deliver, and you have to carry the payroll to carry. Those are the people that wake you up. But a lot of times the reason they wake you up is because you've done nothing about them. Because you've been meaning to do something and you haven't confronted it, and you don't confront it, and it goes on and on and on. And by the time you decide to confront it, you've created such a problem that it's so hard. I just talk from experience, because that's where I've been way too many times in my career. And now I'm very clear. This is the agreement. This is what I expect of you. This is what you agreed to do. And let's get it done. If not, these are the results. How does that sound? Do you understand that? Yes. It's not easy, but it's a lot simpler to do it like that. And then you're not in that, because when I hear get rid of, it's what it tells me, it's a negative. It's a very
bad space.
Very negative space that
we've reached.
That's been reached.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to get there, because it's not good for all parties.
No.
And what I have learned is that when you can call it up front, sit down with someone and say, Sully, this is not working, but we're a month into this and it's not working. And
tried.
I get it that, look, you don't like working the way we work. So why don't we call it quits? As per our agreement, let's just call it quits. I'll pay you out for the rest of the month. I'll pay you out for as whatever our agreement is. Then you go off and find something else to do, Jim. Thanks for coming. Have a nice life. Bye. And it sounds very
harsh,
easy. It's not easy, but it's simple if you're clear in it.
Yeah.
Okay, all that stuff is hard because you have to make decisions. Hardest part of building a business is running teams. That's why we run a 5-day team development program. That's why we run UG, the ultimate greatness experience. Why? Because running teams is damn friggin' hard. Doesn't matter how big your business gets, it's always people issues.
Yeah,
When I say that, it's
running yourself is hard enough. Now you
100%.
now you add other people to that and their issues.
correct.
So, but I have one more question.
Yep.
And it's around, so first I'll give you your flowers and then you can answer the question. For as long as I've known you, you've always been the leader who is, oh man, I can't think of anybody right now, but frontline guy. You know what I mean? You're the first in the trenches, you're out there, guns blazing.
Yeah.
First guy there, no questions asked. And I think something you've always said to me, I would never ask somebody to do something I wouldn't do myself.
Yeah.
And that, it did stick with me because I was like, that's crazy, because most leaders, I built this thing, now I'm stepping back and you guys must run with it or whatever, but you have continued to run with it and lead from the front. And I've never, like, with me now moving into the position that I've moved in with the team, I've started to say to them, I'm not expecting you to do that, but what I am expecting of you is to learn from that, because that is going to put you in a position for a higher level of success.
Yeah.
Because he is, whatever it takes legally, ethically, and morally, he will get it done, even if he's on his deathbed. How important is that? And I'm not saying about from you specifically, I'm saying for a business owner, as a leader, how important is it to lead from the front in that regard?
Well, I mean, interesting. So your words were, I keep doing. My goal is not to do everything.
Yes. No, I don't think you do everything.
So as we expand, the things I used to do, I don't do anymore, but I can do them. So there's nothing that I wouldn't expect any of you to do that I won't do.
No.
Okay, and there's, if I expect someone to go and collect 50 business cards, and any new salesperson was to challenge me, I'd say, get in the car, come. I'll friggin' show you, because I've done it, so It doesn't worry me. You want me to make 50 phone calls in a day, I'll get on the phone, I'll make 50 phone calls. Because I lead from the front. In marketing perspective, you have a lot more knowledge in marketing than I do. But do you have any doubt if I needed to sit down and get a website built in 24 hours, I'd do it?
No, I mean, you did when you came back from COVID.
It's not a good use of my time.
For sure.
But the reality is,
I can do it. You can do it.
Well, you know that if I commit to 24 hours, I'll get it done in 24 hours.
For sure.
So the reality is, if you commit to 24 hours, my expectation is do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think you go back to the key thing. For me, one of the biggest sort of things in my life is I'm not trying to do my best. I want to do whatever it takes to win.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, there's a very big difference between I'm trying my best and I'm going to do whatever it takes, because trying my best is based on where I'm sitting at the moment and what I understand. And the justification when it gets hard, well, it is my best.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I tried my best. No, doing whatever it takes is pushing through the things that you didn't know that you had to do, pushing through the hard part that you didn't even imagine that you had to get through, and doing whatever it takes to get to the end. And you can take that into anything. You can take that into sport, you can take that into business, you can take that into relationships. In my marriage, I'm not trying my best with my wife. I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that our marriage works.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense? And that's not easy.
No.
But in business, as a leader of my business, I will do whatever it takes. If I need to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to catch a flight to go see a client, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I then, if I operate from there, well, I can also expect my team to do it. But not just by, so none of my team or none of our team can point fingers at me.
No.
Not point fingers at me because I'm perfect and I do everything amazing. No, because I do drop the ball and I do stuff up and I do make mistakes.
Because you're a person.
But I do whatever I can. I do whatever it takes to live to my code of honor.
Yes.
So when I don't honor an agreement, I will pick up the phone and say, Sully, sorry, buddy, I stuffed up.
Yeah.
You don't have to phone me.
No.
You don't have to phone me and say, dude, I'm following up. I'm like, oh, sorry. And if I totally forgot, and you do phone me and say, where you are, I'm like, dude, I forgot. I take ownership. I stuffed up. I'll be there. We'll get it done. But because that's the behaviors that I want. So it's not the results. At times I don't get the results. At times I do get the results. But it's the behaviors. Can your team model your behaviors? You know, when I say I grew up in this industry, in the sales training, in the training industry, I grew up around Blair Singer for 10 years. There's one thing I know, that guy is friggin' unbelievably fit. Well, that his ability to push himself at a fitness level influenced me. And I'm like, well, if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
If he's going to stay that fit, I'm going to be on that pursuit to stay as fit as I can.
Yeah.
Not as I can. I'm going to do whatever it takes to stay fit. And I drop the ball and I get back on the wagon and I drop. But it's because I watched him. He wasn't, 120 kgs friggin' flopping around the stage going, you need to be fit, you need to be fit. He's not. He's friggin' unbelievably fit. He goes up Kilimanjaro twice a year. He trains every single day. He manages what he eats. He teaches from a perspective of what he does, and leading is teaching. So lead from a perspective of what you do. There's too many leaders in today's world. I mean, I saw some stuff the other day. It was just an interesting caption, and it was the caption. I didn't dig deep into it, but it was the caption. There were 5 pictures of 5 people who are from various different countries, who are the health ministers or head of health.
Overweight.
Okay. 4 of them are beastly overweight, and 1 is Kennedy from America. And he is friggin' supremely fit for his age. well, who would you want to follow when it comes to health? Someone that's leading your health and can't manage their health, and they're going to make rules around health when they're not healthy. Goodness me, sorry. And that's the lack of congruency when it comes to leadership. Be congruent.
Agreed. I feel like it's also the same as having people in being ministers of military or ministers of defense, and you've never been in the army.
Correct.
There's no logic in that.
Or minister of trade and commerce when you've never been in business and you don't understand business. What that doesn't make sense.
What are you going to accomplish?
But those things don't make sense. It's like a minister of health that's never
unhealthy.
Is not a doctor or doesn't understand the health profession.
Okay, that's even worse.
All that sort of stuff.
That's worse.
It's like making me the minister of health.
I'm
like,
what are you doing here?
Flipping heck.
Drink smoothies and run.
If you're going to be the minister of defense, you don't have to be the most decorated soldier.
No, I'm not saying be that.
You don't have to be a general, but you have to have been in the military, have the discipline of the military, understand the context.
Yes,
for example,
please.
It's
the minister of finance not having any financial literacy. Correct. I mean, we know that in government. Let's end this podcast before I say something I can't take back.
And that's the same with business, man. Same with business. Lead from the front.
And I love that you said leading is teaching.
As a leader, if you don't know how to do it, be humble enough to say, I don't. You're the expert in marketing, so teach me. Let me understand what you're doing. Rather than I'm the boss, you do what I do. I read a podcast the other day, and you listen to a podcast, and you must go do this. It's like,
no, but the thing is, a leader would say something like that, right? Those types of leaders, they'll say, I read a podcast yesterday, and they'll walk off feeling smart. Yeah. And then the team is going, you read a podcast?
Anyway, have a great week. Bye.